you can't go wrong with Now It's Dark.
The 10 scariest body horror movies, ranked. When it comes to the horror genre, many subgenres exist that have become popular with audiences. Among them are body horror films, which, for many decades, have entertained and repulsed audiences in equal measure and resulted in some of the most iconic and important horror movies the genre has witnessed. The image of the human body being morphed, transformed, and twisted in horrific ways has fascinated and terrified audiences for years. Let's delve into the scariest body horror films and see which ones are practically guaranteed to make your skin crawl and have you jump out of your seat. 10. Tusk, 2014. In Tusk, we follow a popular podcaster who suddenly gets captured by a deranged retired seafarer. His captor begins to surgically transform his body into a grotesque walrus. The scientist forces his captive to think and behave like a walrus while recounting his life. While the victim manages to get rescued, his life will be very different. Tusk is one of his weirdest offerings with a twisted sense of humor. Written and directed by Smith, the casting features Justin Long, Michael Parks, and Genesis Rodriguez, but don't let Smith's usual humor give you the wrong idea. Tusk is very unsettling precisely because Smith doesn't aim at making a comedy horror, and instead goes for full-blown horror. 9. Possession, 1981. The story of Possession focuses on a couple whose marriage is slowly disintegrating. As their relationship unravels, the wife seems affected by disturbing visions and otherworldly experiences pushing the boundaries of her sanity and her perception of physical reality. The husband, desperate to understand what is happening with his wife, Isabella Johnny in the best performance of her career, hires a private eye, who leaves him with more questions than answers. When the reason for her behavior is revealed, you'll be shocked to your bones. Possession is the type of movie that demands a certain mindset before sitting down to see it. This body horror film holds off the graphic violence and disturbing visuals right until the movie's end, and it's totally worth the wait. 8. The Stuff, 1985. The Stuff is a movie written and directed by Larry Cohen. It's a satirical piece starring working actors such as Michael Moriarty, Andrea Marcovicci, and Garrett Morris. The film presents a world where the mysterious, addictive dessert-like substance becomes a nationwide obsession, with several people refusing to eat it while investigating why this product seems to have taken over everyone so quickly. It's a funny but blunt critique of consumerism and the dangers of blind conformity. 7. Shivers, 1975. Shivers takes place in a high-rise apartment complex where a parasitic organism suddenly takes over residents. The organism infects every single tenant, causing uncontrollable sexual desires and violent outbursts in each one of them. The contagion spreads quickly, turning the building into a nightmare. A few tenants try to hold off the infected, but the parasite is taking over more people after a few deaths. The last remaining survivor is taken over, with the whole building getting ready to go out in the open and spread their disease to the world. It would be so easy to fill this list with most of David Cronenberg's works. Shivers is his third film, and it's one that sinks hard into depravity with body horror elements. 6. The Thing, 1982. Being trapped in the Arctic is a scary enough prospect, but when you have a bloodthirsty alien possessing people around you, it only adds to the discomfort. John Carpenter left his stamp on the body horror genre with his tense and atmospheric remake of The Thing starring Kurt Russell. The film relies on physical horror as the titular monster jumps from a dog to a human host and evolves throughout. The practical effects here are grotesque yet creative and are considered among some of the best effects in horror. The Thing is an example of how the body horror genre can lend itself naturally to suspenseful and taut filmmaking, and Carpenter intelligently crafts an exquisitely unnerving game of cat and mouse. 5. Reanimator, 1985. Technically billed as a horror comedy, Reanimator still manages to amp up the gore and thrills factor and deliver a nasty yet sly package of body horror. The film, which loosely plays off of classics such as Frankenstein and the H.P. Lovecraft book Herbert West, Reanimator, involves two medical students who discover a way to resurrect dead bodies and begin a series of tests which end up taking a wrong turn. The film is a roller coaster ride of outlandish visuals, dark humor, and a chilling cautionary tale about the dangers of playing God. While the film does have plenty of edgy humor, it isn't without its moments of chills and suspense and offers up some truly inventive special effects and gore in the process. 4. The Fly, 1986. A list of the finest body horror has to offer couldn't possibly not include one of the best by the maestro of the genre, director David Cronenberg. While he has many films that could easily land on this list, his 1986 remake of The Fly feels the most appropriate, somehow simultaneously his most mainstream and perhaps his most icky. The film tells the tragic story of Seth Brundle, Jeff Goldblum, who suffers a freak accident involving an experiment and begins to morph into a human-fly hybrid slowly. The film's visual effects are notably grotesque, but Cronenberg also utilizes the body horror aspect for genuine emotion as well. The way he depicts Goldblum's character transformation slowly adds to the tragedy and suspense, so while The Fly delivers plenty of the gore and thrills fans look for in the genre, its mature storytelling and affecting performances elevate it to masterpiece status. 3. Cabin Fever, 2002. Eli Roth made his stellar directorial debut with the skin-crawling hit Cabin Fever, telling the startling tale of a group of college friends who set out to celebrate their spring break in a remote cabin, where they encounter a ghastly flesh-eating virus that quickly infects them one by one. The film horrifically depicts the devastating effects of the bacteria and includes many nauseating scenes, such as one involving a female who goes to shave her legs, and her flesh begins to peel off in the process. Roth created the premise of the story after developing a harsh skin infection while working in Iceland, and he initially faced pushback from studios who felt the film's premise was too unsettling and that the horror genre was unprofitable. With Cabin Fever, the director paid homage to low-budget horror flicks and earned praise for his unique perspective. 2. Malignant, 2021. Malignant tells the story of Madison Mitchell, a woman who suffers domestic abuse by her partner. She doesn't remember what happened after he hit her head, but all she knows is that the man lies dead on the floor, completely beaten by some creature. As Madison starts investigating, she realizes it may have something to do with her past. We won't spoil this one for you. Just know it's full-blown body horror. James Wan's return to his roots is like two films in one. On one hand, the film is a great exploration of trauma. But then it's also a great B-movie about Madison's past and what actually lives inside of her. Literally, Malignant is one of the best horror films of 2021 because it's not afraid to pull any punches and also delivers on the scary element with a great creature that you will most likely remember for some time. 1. Videodrome, 1983. In Videodrome, the president of a small TV channel comes upon a strange signal that's continuously broadcasting images of violent crimes. He starts to steal the signal and capitalizes on the popularity of snuff films, but soon, when he starts digging deeper, he realizes the signal may have something to do with a collecting brainwashing conspiracy that he sadly ends up participating in. Cronenberg's signature body horror film has just gotten better with time, and much scarier than it was at first. The horror element is very graphic, and Cronenberg goes to great lengths to represent in detail what his message is all about. This is visible once Max Wren reaches inside his own body, and, well, it's better if you see it. This is a very important genre film. Thanks for watching this video. Please consider hitting the like button and subscribing.